everyone. We all know that we are going to expand our business to Japan. And before we actually start the process, you should know that the Japanese have a very strong traditional way of doing business. So that for that reason, it's not going to be easy to negotiate with them. In this meeting, I will explain you the barriers in cross-cultural management and how to negotiate internationally. In this case is with the Japanese. Our biggest focus would be focused on the nonverbal communications and their personal construct. I will show you the grounds where conflicts would happen. But first, I want you to note in your mind the very most important things when you are dealing with a Japanese is that they have the wa. Do you know what's wa mean? The wa is the most important Japanese philosophy. So philosophy that is focused on how they maintaining the harmony with the social context. The Japanese apply this to their verbal and non-verbal behavior everywhere, with the business or in their daily life. Okay.
We heard that there are barriers in cross-cultural management communications. But what are they exactly? The barriers are mostly different norms and values between two or more different cultures at a business meeting. With these, messages can be communicated unclear or even ruin a business relationship. So be prepared with researches and understanding of the opponent's culture to do businesses with foreign partners.
In business, there are a lot of information communicated in conversation is done in nonverbal form. Type of nonverbal communication vary based on culture and country of origin. Difference in culture create several barriers in nonverbal communication in international business and lead to misunderstanding with business partner and make them feel offended. Different cultures have different way of making hand gesture, facial expression, and modulating the voice during communication process. Besides that, silence during the conversation can also be a cause for misunderstanding. In Western culture, silence marks a pause in a discourse. Meanwhile, the Japanese see silence in conversation sometimes as for quick self-thinking and consideration.
Negotiation on business level is hard, and it's even harder to do it internationally. Personal construction and communication stand as the barrier that negotiators in international context should do research about it before, so that they would know and understand the assumptions and expectations of the other party in the communication process. Behaviors displayed by both parties might reflect opposite motives. For example, in Western approach, negotiations is considered as a problem-solving exercise between the parties so they can reach a mutual decision. On the other hand, in most of the Asian countries, it is a ceremonial occasion where a seal of approval is formally applied to what has been put together. It's a patient consensus-generating process behind the scenes.
Finnish people are strong individualists and can be interpreted as having strong opinions about anything and everything, but that is not suitable behavior in the workplace. Finns like to build business relationships based on mutual trust, and they want to maintain those business relationships and prioritize them. Finns value integrity and dependability highly. The Finns can also be regarded as quiet people, that they don't tend to do small talk, but would much rather just get to the point straight away. The Finnish conversation style might seem quite inanimate to many people around the world, meaning that the Finns don't show that much body language, including facial expressions and tone of voice. This could prove difficult for people to read Finns' body language. The Finns also frequently take a silent break to process information, consider what was said, and generally to just think in peace. A very important fact to know is to not stand too close. 3 or 4 feet is okay.
Next part is the negotiation style of Japanese. It depends on relationship and respect. This is because the Japanese highly value etiquette and norm during any type of business meeting, especially negotiation process. Moreover, Nonverbal communication in negotiation is very important for Japanese. Japanese prefer a good sitting arrangement in a room because it is an important belief to defy hierarchy. Additionally, it is also advised to exchange business cards in a Japanese way and do not put the Japanese card in the back pocket because it is extremely impolite with Japanese. Last but not least, Japanese usually nod their head, but it does not mean that they agree.
Business cards are an essential part of Japanese culture. In some Western culture, they might be seen a little old-fashioned, but to the Japanese, they are extremely important. They should provide information about person's name, job title, company's name, address, phone number, and email address. In Japan, the exchange of the cards make the status relation clear immediately, like the seniority in rank or age determine. The Finnish businessman here has not studied proper greetings. Thus, he seems confused with Japanese bowing after the handshake. Notice the way he is handing out his business card. He takes it out of his back pocket and gives it with one hand like some cheap piece of paper. The Japanese then receive the card with respectful bow and with two hands and place it safely in his breast pocket. He then proceeds to give a card back. As when handing out the card, the Finnish president received the card without a bow and with one hand. Without looking at the card, he then places the card in his back pocket. Everything done in this situation is done wrong.
These videos show two different situations in sitting arrangement between Japanese and Finnish. Sitting arrangement are an example of Japanese hierarchical system, as the places are designated by hierarchy. Each seat represents the amount of respect that should be given to that individual. Japanese arrange the seating based on the social position of each person. Seats for the guests are usually designated farthest away from the door. In the first video, it is inappropriate. The Japanese assistant tried to show the Finnish their designated seat. However, the Finnish take no notice and they sit closest to the door. When the Japanese arrive, they feel little offended with the process, but still follow to the situation. Moreover, the Japanese always present their politeness by nodding their head with their partner. In this case, the Finnish do not understand the Japanese culture, leading to leaving a bad impression on Japanese. Sitting arrangements should not be changed just to make oneself more comfortable. Opposite to the first video, the second video shows that foreign visitors pay attention on unwritten rules and verbal as well as nonverbal gestures to follow the instruction of the Japanese. When arriving into the room, the assistant showed the correct place to the Finnish. According to hierarchy, Finnish are arranged to sit farthest from the door and closest to the back wall. Sitting arrangement are an excellent way of showing the Japanese hierarchy. When the Japanese come into the room, they automatically sit on their designated place. Look at the correct video. The boss always sit on the left-hand side of the assistant.
The Japanese desire to begin their meetings with small talk about weather or family. On the other hand, most of the Westerners, in this case the Finns, tend to get straight to the point. This will be considered as rude by the Japanese as they tend to appreciate maintaining close relationships. Such small talk will help the Japanese understand their partner more in person, therefore build up trust and long-lasting relationships. Here in the video, the Finns do exactly as they are used to act in Finland and proceed straight to the negotiations. The Japanese, being as considerate people, they do not point out their desire and proceed with their meeting without small talk. However, it leaves a negative impact for the outcome of the negotiations. In the correct way, the Finns should have done their research and begin the meeting with small talks. This will later reflect in the perceptions of them by the Japanese and the eventual result.
During his presentation of the topic, the Finnish presenter notices, here, that one of the Japanese has no idea what is being discussed about. Without exposing her, he naturally leads the presentation back to the beginning and reviews so that Japanese could understand. In this case, the presenter is aware of Japanese worst fears, losing the face. By reviewing, he provides the Japanese a chance to maintain their face and save them from humiliation, thus creating trust between two parties. Maintaining face is extremely important to the Japanese, and thus actions that result the opposing side losing their face should be avoided at all costs. The Japanese tend to avoid these situations that could lead to oneself or other person losing their face, thus being the target of public humiliation, which is the worst thing that could happen to Japanese. There are two different ways to lose a face. Losing face because of your own actions, or you are the cause of the opposing side losing their face.
Gift giving during the first meeting is one of the especially important silent ways of communication with the Japanese. Best gift is something that is something traditional from home country. The gifts can carry two different kinds of messages. They can be seen as a sign of friendship or as a sign of having an ulterior motive. This is then dependent on the value of the gift, but the value itself should not be stated. Receiver of an expensive gift will feel that they are obligated to work. In the case that the business relationship ends in a negative result, the receiver will send a gift of equal value back. When selecting the gift, pastel colors should be favored and numbers 4 and 9 should be avoided due to their double meanings to the Japanese. The process of giving the gift will take place at the beginning and at the end of the meeting. The visitors, in this case the Finns, will hand the Japanese their gift during the greeting. After the greeting, the Finnish high-standing person will receive their gift from their subordinate. Notice that the subordinate bows when giving the gift to their boss, thus adapting to Japanese customs. The Finnish then proceeds to give their gift to the Japanese with a bow, the gift held in both hands. The Japanese will receive the gift with two hands and with a bow. After short inspection, the gift will be passed on to the subordinate without a bow, as per the Japanese customs. The Japanese will give their gift at the end of the meeting, as a farewell gift. The same procedures will take place as when receiving the gift, but the roles have been reversed. Notice that the gifts will not be opened at this stage, but instead behind the scenes in case of the present not being preferable.
So please have these points in mind if you work with a Japanese person. Thank you for your attention.